The life of a completionist can be very stressful. Being locked in a room for hours trying to perfect every minute detail of a difficult game can break a person's mind. Sometimes you need a game that's easy and relaxing. Something that, with its emphasis on exploration and world building, just charms the pants right off ya. Today, we're not just going to look at a charming game. We're going to experience one of the most charming games that Nintendo has ever made. When I complete Pikmin 2.
Here comes a new challenger! Yes! Danger!
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of The Completionist, where we don't just beat the games, we complete them. The Pikmin series is all about being a team leader and managing the many tasks within the span of a single day. And as a leader of a company, I can definitely relate to Captain Olimar's struggles to manage my time. But I hear that Pikmin 2 removes some of that stress, which is good because being a leader is hard work. You know, I wonder if I had to stretch this analogy any further, what type of Pikmin Ted would be? I don't want to think about that actually, let's just go ahead and start. I love Nintendo. I know, it's shocking, but how can you blame me? With their emphasis on simple gameplay and endearing protagonists, they have created many of the most iconic franchises in gaming history. Although Pikmin was not nearly as popular as other Nintendo properties, it was still one of the most unique strategy games ever made, and critics loved it. The game received top reviews across the board. Playing through Olimar's struggle to get off a foreign planet and back to his family was plenty sympathetic, and the easy-to-learn commands made the game fun to master. However, there were a few common complaints. 1, the game was too short, and 2, the 30-day time limit was too stressful and unnecessary. And you know what? Nintendo listened. The developers decided they wanted this new Pikmin game to really focus on exploration and figuring things out on your own time. So they removed the time limit. And in my opinion, the game is much better off. When we last left our stalwart hero Olimar, he was on his way back home after the events of the first game with a gift for his son in tow. He arrives back at his work only for his boss to tell him that the company is bankrupt. While he was gone, a new pilot, Loiu, lost a shipment of gold pick carrots to ravenous space rabbits. Now, the company is over 10,000 Pokos in debt. And once you learn this, a computer scans Olimar's gift for his son and deems it worth 100 Pokos and uses it to pay off part of the debt. The boss, ecstatic, immediately sends Olimar and Loiu back to planet PNF 404 to use the Pikmin to recover enough treasures to pay back the company's debt. Alright, so for those of you who don't know, Pikmin are plant-based creatures that roam around PNF 404. They are small and weak, but if there are a bunch of them together and they have a strong leader, Pikmin can be immensely powerful. Your job as Olimar and Loiu is to build up as large of an army of Pikmin as possible and have them carry the treasures back to the ship. While you can't jump and effectively attack anything yourself, you can throw and command Pikmin to go just about anywhere. They will move to, pick up, or attack anything that you tell them. I like these guys. They're mindless and they do exactly what you tell them to do. And they're even singing together while they're doing it. They're the perfect little workmen to help me pay off the debt, collect all of the treasures on PNF 404, and beat all of the challenges. If only I had these guys working on these videos. Okay, point made. The place where Pikmin 2 shines most of all is in the atmosphere, no pun intended. Everything from the graphics to the characters to the item descriptions makes this game one of the most charming games Nintendo has ever made. So let's start with the characters. I've already talked a little bit about feeling more connected to Olimar in this game as opposed to Pikmin 1. Part of that is connecting him to being sent away from his family because of work. But the other part is because of emails. Now, in the original Pikmin, Olimar kept track of everything happening to him in a journal. This would appear on screen between levels. It was an interesting way to get inside Olimar's head. In Pikmin 2, instead you get emails from your family and your boss. Your wife and kids write to tell you that they miss you and to get home soon, while your boss tells you that he's hiding from his debtors and has befriended animals that live under the bridge with him. These range from really funny to genuinely sad. Let's go ahead and get this man back home safe safely to his family. Now compare this to another popular Nintendo franchise, Mario. More often than not, the plot consists of someone telling you to go save Princess Peach in a single sentence. In Pikmin 2, we get to see Olimar through the eyes of the people that are closest to him, allowing us to empathize with him. This similar amount of detail can be seen in the treasures you need to collect. As soon as you land on PNF 404, Olimar and Loiu separate, and as the two explorers try to find each other, you discover your first treasure, a black and copper cylinder with the word Duracell written on the side. That's right, folks, the treasures are mundane items that you and I see every day. This means that PNF 404 is essentially Earth in the distant future, and humans aren't around anymore. Take care of Mother Gaia, my friends. Although this has very dark implications regarding the future of humanity, Pikmin 2 hides this by having Olimar name these different items. For example, he calls a playing card a luck wafer, and a Game & Watch a dream architect. These names are all provided with a journal entry that connects to how Olimar is feeling about his mission, his family, and himself. These allow a humorous look into the world Olimar comes from. They are delightful and are easily my favorite part of the game. So once again, let's compare to Mario. The main collectible in most 3D Mario games is the Power Star. In 2Ds, it might be a coin of some kind. But what happens once you grab it? Sure, it was a fun obstacle, and you had to work hard to get it, but does it add anything to the world of Mario? It's nice to see a game take what are usually mindless collectibles and make them something truly interesting. Now, you may notice that I have not mentioned Loiu in any of this. That's because Loiu doesn't really participate in any of the emails or journal entries. You only get a few emails from his grandma every now and then nagging you. He simply exists to be an extra person for you to control. In fact, he is constantly shown to be inept at his job, and it becomes Olimar's job to tell him what to do. While I admit that this is a clever way to teach the player the controls, that doesn't make it any less annoying in the long run. This actually made me dislike Loiu and connect even more with Olimar. You're taken away from your family, and now you have to deal with this guy? Ugh, good luck, my man. Okay, so Pikmin 1 had a ton of great ideas that made it stand out from other strategy games. Pikmin 2 takes those ideas and digs deeper into them to make for a more engrossing game overall, although it can get repetitive very quickly. Gameplay is made more interesting by the variety of Pikmin you can control. Red, blue, and yellow Pikmin return from the previous game, but have received some modifications. While blue Pikmin remain the same, yellow Pikmin are now resistant to electricity, and red Pikmin are resistant to fire. These are especially useful for opening gates blocked by these elements. And although these three classics have returned, two more colors of Pikmin are introduced: white and purple. White Pikmin are resistant to poison, while purple Pikmin are much heavier and stronger than the other Pikmin. They're great for moving treasures quickly or for solving weight-based puzzles. And rather cleverly, the reason that these types of Pikmin weren't in the last game is because they can only be sprouted underground, which is inaccessible in the first Pikmin game and where most of Pikmin 2 takes place. These additions to the Pikmin, plus the ability to switch between Olimar and Loiu at any time, make for some unique exploration and puzzle solving that was not possible in the previous game. Now, this can sound overwhelming, but it's actually a lot less stressful than the previous game, because instead of having a literal ticking clock hanging over your head, you instead have more of a focus on wanting to get back to your family, and player motivation driven by character is always more interesting than arbitrary rules. Pikmin 2 also looks gorgeous for the Nintendo Gamecube and Wii. The bright colors in the different surface levels combined with the different creatures and plant life make for a vibrant world that feels real. Every time I unlocked a new level, I just wanted to explore it as much as humanly possible, and it was always satisfying. Each level has a different seasonal theme to it, making every location have a distinct and memorable color palette. Every time it felt like I had just started a new world in Minecraft, and I was ready to explore all of it. Unfortunately, most of the game doesn't take place on the surface. Most of the game takes place in caves where you try to descend as far as possible in order to find a boss with a rare treasure. Most of the time, the bosses are really cool and are fun to figure out, like how the ranging Bloister requires you to bait the boss with one character while the other character attacks it from behind, or the Water Wraith. For as horrifying as that thing is, it was oddly satisfying to finally battle and defeat it. However, this doesn't change the fact that most of the cave levels look and feel the same. Sure, some caves, like the submerged castle, have an intentionally creepy vibe that's fitting with a dark underground cave atmosphere, but for the most part, many of the cave sections make me just beg for sunlight again. Some caves are just deeper variations of others. In order to curb this, the developers tried to randomize the caves, but this just made the cave levels more frustrating. There would be times where it would be impossible to pass without having a Pikmin die on you, just because that's the way the level decided to be today, and that hardly seems fair. The bright side of the caves is the cool treasures and bosses you find along the way, but these are taken away in challenge mode. Well, the treasures are at the very least. Challenge mode is unlocked once you get a certain distance into the game, and while it starts off fun, it can get frustrating real quick. There are multiple different ranks for each challenge. The highest rank possible is a pink flower, showing that you have beaten a level without a single Pikmin dying. Now, this is much easier said than done. Each challenge gives you a specific amount of Pikmin to control, and although you might think that things would be easier to manage with only 50 Pikmin instead of a full 100, the reality is it's much more difficult to get every task done within the time limit when your Pikmin quantity is so limited. While it may seem like I'm being harsh, I don't hate these parts of the game. In fact, these challenges are incredibly fair, and if anything, they're a fun addition to the game. It's just that when you see moments of brilliance in a game, like Olimar's item descriptions or the fascinating surface levels, the bland caves and the inept
Loiu
really stand out. Alright, so there's a lot more to do in Pikmin 2 than in the first game. Fortunately, unlike the previous game, there is only one ending to unlock. You pay off the debt, head home, accidentally leave Loiu behind, go back to PNF 404 with your boss to rescue Loiu, and then you head back to finally spend some time with your wife and son. Loiu. You can then go back to Earth and find the last of the treasures, but you don't get anything special for that. However, if you do beat all the challenges in challenge mode without losing a single Pikmin, you will unlock a cutscene called Louie's Dark Secret. And with a title like that, it's gotta be epic. Is he a vampire? Does he have a second family? Is he actually smart? No, and definitely not. This cutscene is basically a series of poorly animated vignettes that show that the shipment of golden Pick carrots was not eaten by a ravenous space rabbit. It was eaten by Loiu himself. All right, let me get this straight. This entire space corporation goes out of business, and Olimar was kept from his family even longer because Loiu has an uncontrollable appetite. Loiu sucks, dude. And I can tell this was an attempt to make a joke, but because Loiu himself is so unlikable and the cutscene feels so half-assed, it is not at all worth it to perfect all of these damn missions. When I completed Pikmin 2, there were hundreds of thousands of Pikmin lost. Okay, actually, it was just like 630 Pikmin lost. Sure, it's a lot, but it's not nearly as much as it could have been. More than 10,000 Pokos earned instead of spending time with my family. 201 treasures found because I am a company man. 81 plants and fauna recorded in the Piklopedia since I'm a detailed scientist. 30 challenges completed without losing a single one of my Pikmin friends. 22 hours of total playtime. And one pilot who I wish we just left on PNF 404. Loiu. Pikmin 2 is an absolutely delightful game. The treasure descriptions, the creature designs, and the deeper combat all make for an immensely charming experience. I actually wanted to explore every crevice of every section just so I could see what hilarious thing I could find next. But when you take off the layers of this world that Nintendo created and are stuck repeating the same dark caves over and over, it gets monotonous. Don't get me wrong, Pikmin 2 is still fun, but with a weak completion bonus, it's just not worth doing the extra side challenges. Pikmin 2 is leaps and bounds better than the first game. Its more relaxed tone and the little details in the world make for a game that feels more complete than its predecessor. And while it's not perfect, especially with how repetitive some of the caves can feel, it still is a blast to play. It is definitely worth playing through at least once. So, with that in mind, guys, I give this game my completionist rating of finish it.
Finish it!
That's all the time we have for today, guys. So please, as always, let me know what you thought about today's episode somewhere on the internet. If you like the show, do me a favor, hit that like button and leave a comment down below on what episodes you want to see for the future of the show. And hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to get all notifications on. We do new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Guys, I've been Gerard the Completionist, and I'll see you next week for another brand new episode. Bye-bye.